Hey everyone, it's Michelle at Resonant Essentials. Thank you for joining us, and I apologize profusely for the fact that we had some technical difficulties, but Bill and I have figured out a way to bring you Bill Heinrich. Welcome, Bill. Thank you for coming. Let me tell you all a little bit about Bill so that you kind of know what we're doing today. He was going to come into Resonant Essentials and talk on his book, The 7 Levels of Truth. It really intrigued me, as a lot of his work and the stuff that he has written on is everything that I teach. So I was really excited to have someone come in and show me a little bit more. And he told me, pick from my lectures. So I picked one that I would like to bring to you, which is the 92% factor. I'll tell you why I did this. We're all sitting at home. We're all used to being in our routine. And right now, I don't think we're all working optimally. So, Bill, thank you for coming. Could you tell us a little bit more about the 92% factor and get us all working effectively and efficiently, whether it be mind, body, or spirit?
I would love to. Thank you very much for having me. We have encountered enough obstacles to getting together between the coronavirus and now the issues with being able to post this to Facebook Live. But as I indicated to you, we'll figure out that issue, get it resolved, and then we can do another live maybe next week on a different topic. I'd be happy to do that. So the 92% factor is all about everything we never really take into consideration, because we get so locked into the physical. The reason that I created this talk and I talk about it is because well, let me back up. I've been on this spiritual path. I walked away from my life over 25 years ago and have been researching why I was so miserable. The reason I literally walked away from my life and I changed everything but my name. Consequently, in this research, what I found out was about the 7 levels of truth, and I've been through, I could go on and on and on, talk about my experiences, being an energetic empath and so on and so forth. But when I looked at how to deliver the 7 levels of truth to people, I started doing it and it wasn't working. Well, excuse me, it was working, it wasn't sticking. And I was like, well, that's no good. I've got to find a way to make this stick, because I don't want to just take somebody through a metaphysical experience. I want to empower them so that they can go empower others. This is my life purpose. So I stopped and started researching further, finding ways to make it work, and then how to deliver what I had discovered. And I found that the best way to deliver it was to be a business coach, which is kind of funny. I've been in business over 50 years. And I'm really good at business, but I'm a business coach that never talks about business, ever. I never talk business with my clients, because business doesn't matter. What matters is how we react to life, the energy that we're putting out. That's all that really matters. Consequently, in this 92% factor, I was in a very high level mastermind group. I used to live in Hawaii, and I was flying to the mainland almost once a month, teaching in the masterminds. And I was in a mastermind group, very high level, with about 20 other people from around the world. It was a mid 5-figure group just to belong. I mean, it was very serious. And in that, we did a lot of muscle testing. And what we found out is that we only use 7.8% of our potential.
Wow.
Think about, yeah, think about that. I mean, if you ask anyone, how much of their potential do they use? Typically, people are going to respond 10% or less. It's just like a common knowing. And so we literally muscle tested it and came up with, the 7.8%. And
Wow.
consequently, the 92% factor is, just imagine if you're only using 8% of your potential, let's say we're wrong, our muscle testing was wrong. Let's say we use 15% of our potential. That still leaves 85%. Consequently, when you look at life, if you could find a way to tap into some of that percentage, what would happen to your life, Michelle, if you could increase and tap into 2 or 3 more percent of your potential?
Oh, I would be doing backflips. I think my
The
life would just
results,
open up everything.
the results would be exponential. I mean, just incredible. Now, I see this with my clients I work with. I am a business coach. I do have clients all around the world. I work with massively successful solopreneurs, I mean, that are doing over $1 million in income a year. I work with doctors. I work with all kinds of people because they get so sick and tired of being frustrated. So, what most coaches do is they go through 5 basic things when they talk about coaching. The first thing they look at in a typical coaching process is clarifying your direction. In other words, what are your goals? What's your vision? What's your direction? What's your niche? And what's your focus? Now, on a scale of 1 to 10, how important do you think that is, Michelle?
Well, as for my focus, I would hope that it was a little bit more important than you're probably telling me it is.
Yeah. Well, I'm just saying,
I'd,
just in clarifying your direction itself, how
I would
important is
think it
that?
would be pretty important.
Yeah.
I,
The second the second thing they look at is strategizing actions. And by strategizing actions, it's like, what do you want to accomplish in 6 months? What do you want to accomplish in 3 months, 1 month? What are you going to accomplish this week to move towards that? Right. So strategizing actions is another one. How important do you think that is?
um, I would say that's probably not as important as you know, clarifying your position, but you have to have a measure,
Hmm.
measuring stick as to where you're at. So, you know, at least
Exactly.
50%, at least.
And and then and then the next thing that coaches look at is analyzing skills. What skills need improvement? What do you need to eliminate and outsource? What skills give you strong results? Do you need technology updates? We both need a technology update because we couldn't get this on Facebook Live, right?
Right,
And
right.
right, what new skills do you need to learn? We're going to learn a new skill about getting this on Facebook Live. So analyzing skills is really important so that you're working in your most effective areas, obviously, right?
Yeah,
And then
yeah.
the fourth thing they look at is optimizing environment. What is in your environment? What distractions should you delete? What supporting items should you add? And this includes people, places, and things. Okay. Um, and then in your environment, how does it support you in body, mind, and spirit? So that's another very important factor that coaches around the world look at. The fifth area is psychology that they look at. And in that, it's about mindset, reading books, focus and discipline, maybe attending seminars, and inner game awareness. Now, another very important area. But here's the truth of the matter: the only thing I look at is inner game awareness. I throw all the rest away. I
Oh,
never
wow.
talk about. You don't need to, because what happens is when you have inner game awareness, you know how to make choices. You know what's blocking you, standing in your way, and holding you back. Doesn't that make sense? And
Absolutely.
not only does it stand in your way, block you, and hold you back in your career or business, it affects every area of your life. It affects relationships, it affects socially, romantically, with your children, with your siblings, with your family. Your inner game is the thing that always causes the trouble. Does that make sense?
Absolutely, it does.
So, in looking at the inner game, what I teach is I sh- first I teach people the difference of the two different realities we live in. We live in a physical reality and we live in a non-physical reality. So, and when I ask them, the physical reality is what we see and what our five senses experience every moment of the day. Okay. But the non physical reality is metaphysics. Now, most people call this spirituality, but metaphysics is the non physical.
Right.
Okay. And I ask people to describe metaphysics to me, and nobody can. They're like, oh, I really don't know what to say. And here's the way, I know you're laughing, I know you've experienced this, but here's the way I describe it. Okay. Our day to day activities give us our physical reality, and none of that is real because
Right.
it's all tainted based on our perceptions and our inner game. So everybody has different perceptions. We're all different. We come from different places. We've come from different religions, different families, different geographic regions, social, economic, geographic, our upbringing, our families. There's so many different things that affect us. We're all different. So even though we're physically having the same experience, we're having a different internal experience from it. And we're going to resource our mind. I am not a mindset person. Remind me to talk about that later.
Okay.
We resource our minds, but our minds can only regurgitate the past. Our minds store information based on past experiences. That's our physical reality. Metaphysics is the reality of our soul.
Right.
It's what we've come here to learn. It's what we've come to heal. It's just the reality of our soul. And once I take people through that and they start understanding the importance of the inner game, then we go into the first step with clients. I always do what I call an empowerment assessment. Now, I'm an energetic empath. I just work with vibration, and I can take a person through clearings. It's so fast, it's crazy, to get them total clarity about what's blocking them, standing in the way, or holding them back. I use something called the challenge wheel that I developed to do that. And it takes them through a process to see, like, for instance, I had extremely low self-esteem. And this is what created a majority of my misery for a number of years. The reason I had low self-esteem is because I'm an energetic empath. I was born in a Catholic family. I was trying to fit in. I was, don't laugh.
I'm
I,
empathizing with I'm empathizing.
I put, I was trying to put a big square peg into a round hole, and it just didn't work. So I became two people. I became the person in my family as a child, but I was a different person when I was away from my family. I was seeking my love based on, actually, I'm very funny, and I've stopped telling jokes because I used to hide behind them, but I am really funny. And I use that humor to get love from others, to get their acceptance, which I interpreted as love. But it wasn't love. But I figured, well, if they like me, then I'm good. If they really knew who I was inside, they wouldn't want anything to do with me, because I not only didn't like myself, I really hated myself because life made no sense to me. So going back to these 5 steps in coaching, I throw everything away except the psychology piece. Because once you understand who you are, the thing that everyone is starved for more than anything else is responsibility. We want responsibility, but we can't take it on because we're living life with a blindfold on. We're really guessing. We're kind of just searching our way through the dark, trying to figure things out because they don't make sense. We're living with this facade outside of, oh, hi, how are you? Everything's great. And we're dying inside. We're suffering inside because of it. Because we've all come here to learn lessons. This I'm
Right.
certain of. I'm
Right.
certain of. In fact, I can tell anybody their lessons. I just need their birthday and I can tell them exactly what's going on. Tell them what their lessons are. This is something I've learned over the years. So
Oh,
it's all
gee,
about,
don't tempt me now. I might put you on the hook for that one.
just throw it out there. I'll give it to you. So it's only about the inner game, because when we look at life, our fastest path to success is accessing our potential. But our potential is non-physical. Our power is non-physical. What people call power when they're living in the physical reality is actually force. They're forcing something. So coaches that use these 5 steps are having people go through a process to do things, and it's nothing but a state of resistance. Yeah, I'll get up. I'm gonna walk 2 miles every morning, and yes, I'm gonna learn about this technology piece, and I'm going to do that. I am a salesperson. I'm gonna make those 20 calls every day. I'm a real estate agent. I'm gonna call and get listings, and they grit their teeth and they hate every minute of it, and they grind through it, and it doesn't bring them any satisfaction. Even if it brings success, there is no satisfaction in the success because they still feel empty inside.
And I think that I see a lot of that also. And I think that they get caught up in the story of the physical and become a
Oh,
victim to it more often than not.
they give away their power because what they're doing, you see, is not living then with responsibility, Michelle. They're living with accountability.
That's a,
Accountability,
go
that's
ahead.
what?
I said, that's a
The
good point. That's a real good point.
account accountability is when you're reporting to someone else. Accountability is giving away your power. Accountability is trying to hit a moving target. Everybody's different. So when you're accountable and you're trying to do something so you get that physical acknowledgement and recognition, you're giving away your power. You're not being you. What you're being is who you think you need to be to get other people's approval. And this is the way everybody lives. They live with a blindfold on, and they're making decisions based upon who they aren't.
I would agree with that.
It's 100% true. So what happens is, it's like we're trying to find our way in a snowstorm. We're just kind of guessing and hoping that it works, being as pleasant as we can. But eventually it all breaks down. Eventually you reach that point. The longer you do it, the longer you sell your soul trying to get those physical items, the more depleted you become and the worse you feel inside. You know, the day we die, everything we have is going to somebody else.
I have a whole closet of my son's stuff. When he died, I got it all. He moved out and he moved right back in. You're absolutely right. You don't take it with you.
But everything you are stays
Yeah,
with you forever.
that's right.
It's part of your healing process. So what happens is, we get born into this physical world of survival. It's another mouth to feed. We start getting, I don't know if you're familiar at all with Maslow's hierarchy. I could just give a whole talk on that, but there's 7 basic needs. But the 4 basic ones are physiological: food, water, shelter, excretion, and sex. The next level, safety. The next level is love and belonging. And the next level is esteem. And it's in esteem where we're looking for acknowledgement and recognition. So we're going out trying to feed these needs from the physical rather than from inside. Does that make sense?
Absolutely. Because, people, for me, I relate it to when I teach, you're going to have your chakras. People will say, oh, they're open, they're closed. No, they're positive and negative flow. And if you're working with it in a spiritual sense, it'll have one level of response. Whereas when you're working from the physical, like to me, the 3rd chakra is master of your emotion. You're dealing with what your belief system really is. And you're having to really define that. So it
And what
absolutely makes sense to me.
and what people do is they go and have chakra clearings,
Right.
which is the same. It's the same as getting a haircut.
I, well, you know what? The haircut lasts longer because the minute you
Probably.
walk out, the minute you walk out the door and you almost fall because you misstepped, all that fear comes right back in, and you're going to the ebb and flow of positive and negative. It's something that I laugh about, because if you want to pay me $75, I will just pay me the $75. I'll tell you, they're not going to stay stuck and open.
Yeah. So what happens is, because we live in survival, we then end up with beliefs that there isn't enough. We come from lack. We always need more. We're waiting for the other shoe to fall. We know at some point the shit's going to hit the fan, right? Um, it's a mentality of knowing that problems are coming. And the answer to that is, that's 100% correct, but they aren't problems, they're life lessons. It's a problem when you're in survival, because in survival, there has to be a winner and loser.
Right.
There has to
Good
be.
point. That's a
In
great way to phrase that.
in survival, there's always measurement. And when you have measurement, the other word for measurement is judgment.
Right.
So we're making people better than us or less than us based upon what we see in the physical, when in fact we're all equal.
Absolutely.
When you're thriving, when you're living from the inside and thriving, the other thing in survival is, you're working with very limited resources. You're working with your mind. This is why I hate mindset, okay?
There you
Because
go.
your mind is just a regurgitation of the past. There's no such thing as the future. When somebody plans their future, what they're doing is they're taking their past and they're throwing it out over their shoulders in front of them. They're just recreating their past, because the resources that you use to determine your future come from your mind and your past experience, without any inclination of the fact that we have life lessons to learn. This is why we're here. There are things blocking us, standing in the way, and holding us back. So all they do is they put a different dress or a different suit on their suffering.
Right.
They're going to end up in the same place, guaranteed. This is the way people live life. I deal with it every day. And literally, when I work with people, I am the only business coach, probably the only coach in the world, that gives people a 100% guarantee on their results, and I'll let them write the guarantee.
Wow. That's pretty awesome.
Well, you know who the guarantee is for?
For them.
It's for me.
Oh, for you?
It's
I
for
thought it was
me.
for them.
Well, that's what they think, because everyone's so self-centered. But the fact of the matter is, it's for me, because if a person doesn't demonstrate that they're committed to really learning who they are, and they're committed to living a pure life of free will and choice, I want to give them their money back. I don't want to work with them, because I'm
Right.
not here to convince anybody of anything. What I'm sharing, I've worked with thousands of people. No one's ever asked for their money back in 10 years. But I make
Awesome.
sure that they have the capacity for the responsibility. Because if they don't, I give them an assignment and send them off. Because if you work with me or start talking with me, and you're living life on a three-legged stool, I'm going to pull one of the legs out right away, and you're in big trouble, because I can cut through stories. See, everybody lives from stories. This is what happens in survival. When we're born, we come to life with a little manila folder under our arm with our life lessons in it.
Right.
And from that moment that we're born, our perceptions are skewed because we're here to learn those lessons. So we have huge blind spots, huge blind spots. I still have them today. I'm still here to learn lessons. Even as I evolve and I work at a higher and higher vibration, I'm taking on more responsibility and I have more serious lessons to learn. That's part of the spiritual game. Very much a part of it. It's all about responsibility and commitment to what's totally true. When you're living in survival, nothing's true. What's true is thriving. And the way
Right.
you thrive is you realize, number one, that the universe is abundant. There's plenty for everybody. Everything in the universe is perfect. There's only one thing wrong with it. Do you know what that is?
Perception.
Your perception of it. Yes, that's it.
Oh,
It's the only
see,
thing wrong with it.
because I work a lot with working with people that I have to, in my business, I have to understand what they're perceiving. Because if I don't understand what they're perceiving, I can't get them anywhere.
Well, I can teach you some things to show you how to get to their perceptions even
Yay!
faster.
That's awesome.
Because
I would love that.
when you're thriving, you know everything's abundant, but more importantly than that, you're working in the non-physical reality. Now, the difference between the physical and the non-physical reality is in the physical reality, we have our mind and we have our five senses. Now, our mind is only used to protect us in the physical. That's it. That's its number one job, protection. So when you're in protection, you're in survival. When you're in thriving, and you have your five senses also that you use to uh, use logic to figure out how to keep yourself safe. That's all that people do. But when you're thriving, you have access to all the multi-dimensional resources that the universe has to offer. This is where intuition comes from. It's in thriving, it's all about energy. It's all about what vibration are you at? Because the universe only runs on 7 basic universal laws. The first 3 are fixed. The next 4 are transcendable. The 3 that are fixed, 1, the law of mentalism. Everything comes from nothing.
Right.
You don't do that in the physical, because in the physical, you're attached to only acquiring more physical things. In the non-physical and the universe, it's all about expansion, just expansion with a vibration, right?
Right.
So the law of mentalism is everything comes from nothing. The law of correspondence, now the law of mentalism is fixed. Everything comes from nothing and returns to nothing.
Right.
The law of correspondence, simply said, as above, so below. Body, mind, and spirit are always in alignment based upon your energy. If you're angry, it's anger in all of them. So if you have things inside of you, stories, maybe there was child abuse, maybe it was emotional abuse, maybe you had low self-esteem. There's a zillion. Maybe you got anchored in betrayal. I mean, I could go on for hours and tell you about experiences I've been through with my clients. This is always contaminating the law of correspondence. If you have anger inside you, it's in body, mind, and spirit. It's everywhere. The energy is there. When you come from a place of love, and that's your main energy, you're now in alignment with the universe, and you can communicate with the universe through love, because the third fixed is everything's a vibration.
Right.
So anybody listening to this, if you only remember one thing, what I say, by the way, I'm not here to convince anybody of anything. You live with free will and choice. Take what you want, throw away the rest. I don't care. You'll find more suffering if you do. I can guarantee that, because what I'm teaching you is pure truth. Everything's a vibration. You have to remember that it's our vibration that opens up that other 92% for us, because all of our power, all of our potential sits in that 92%. When we talk about potential, it's the manifestation of our energy as it shows up in the physical.
I agree. I
So
agree.
when you're working with the third law, the third universal law, which is fixed, everything's a vibration. When you're working with that and you focus on your vibration, you can tap into that 92%. You can't control what's going to show up. You have to work with intentions rather than attention, because where your attention goes in the physical, you go. But with intentions, you can feed them with energy. Make sense?
Absolutely. A friend of mine was talking to me because she's a chaos magician. And we were comparing notes about the fact that you can send out and just be done. Just walk,
Mhm.
you just know. I can go into that future and bring those pieces back and have it now.
Yep.
And
You can
that's
have
the
it.
chaos. You can just manifest it. And I hate to use that word manifest, but for lack of a better term right now, it's vibration.
Well, everything in the physical is a manifestation of what's coming from it, your energy.
Right. Absolutely.
Everything. The universe can't say no. The universe cannot refuse your request because it only works with a vibration. It has to deliver.
And, the opposite end of that, if people could understand, and correct me if I'm wrong, please, is the fact that people, the universe doesn't say no, it also doesn't say no to the negative aspects that you're manifesting with
It
your intentions.
delivers. Well, it
Everything
delivers to
that
you exactly what you attract. And
and it
all
will
of the
bring,
attraction comes from energy.
and it brings the people, places, and things to you in order to answer that call.
Mhm. It,
So,
you create everything in your life through energy. Now, the universe does say no, but we spell that KNOW.
yeah, very, very
There,
good.
there's two no's. There's an NO, and it can't say no. It's going to deliver whatever you create energetically, but it does say no. I need to know from your vibration what it is I'm to deliver.
That's absolutely perfectly said. I applaud you for that one. Thank you. I hope everyone's listening to that right there in a nutshell, very clearly and succinctly what you said.
So there's three universal, these are fixed. They're like the law of gravity. You have the law of mentalism, the law of correspondence, and the law of vibration. If you only remember one thing, remember the law of vibration, because vibration creates everything. When you're in vibration, you are speaking with all the resources that the universe has to offer. And the universe is always in a constant state of expansion. It's organic, it moves energetically. So think of yourself as a radio tower sending out beams of energy to attract to you. This is why I never let my clients work with goals. We only work with intentions, because we can feed intentions energetically through present moment awareness. When you have goals, you're going to manipulate, control, lie, cheat, and steal to get what you're after, because it's in the physical. It's going to pollute everything you say because you're so fixed in on that accomplishment. You
Well,
can have the same thing with an intention and feed it energetically. Go ahead.
wouldn't you say, because I deal with a lot of people who say, well, I've got these downloads that are coming from, and they'll name 500 different sources. Sometimes they're ETs. And I ask them, why don't you look at it as having the entire everything the entire level of knowledge within, and you can upload.
The information, if your energy's clear, you know, some people are so spiritual they're of no earthly use. They're just they're just more interested. And the fact of the matter is, we aren't here to be that. We're here to learn our lessons, and our lessons are part of our inner game. And when you understand the language that the universe uses, the universe is omnipotent. It's infinite. There's no end to it. Scientists are always changing how they do things in calculations because they just learn more and more and more about the universe. They're never going to learn about it because it's just, it's all that is. And we are innately connected to everything, everyone in the universe through energy. It's energy that connects us. There's no such thing as separation. The universe is about expansion. Living in the physical is only about limitation. And right now, we are in the greatest state of limitation that we've ever experienced in the physical. And it's fantastic because it's no different today than it always is. It's just more evident because somebody told you to stay home. But the fact of the matter is, my life is out of control and yours is too in the physical. We have no control over our lives.
And one of my, I'm trying to get the light, I'm starting to fade here in this space that I'm in. I'm in one of the spare rooms in my house. So I'm really glad you said that, because so many people have, I love being home. I love this time out because it's giving me time to sit and be
I know
with
exactly what you're going to say. Yeah.
and be with my thoughts and my feelings and with me and create. I'm so much more connected than if I have to go to the physical and clean the center and set the tables and put the chairs out, because that just it limits my ability to expand in consciousness because I'm having to deal with the physical. Not that I don't enjoy that also, because I love having people come in. I love that. I was so excited for you to come. I think if you can speak to people and help them to see that everything that they're doing, it's about holding that high enough vibration so that they make those corrections and those connections a lot more clear for themselves.
Yeah. So let me finish the universal laws, because there's four more that are transcendable. Oh no, we get it.
I apologize.
I'll come back to that. And if I get lost, remind me, because it's easy for me to get lost when I get expanded in talking about this. The other four universal laws are transcendable. And those are real simply the law of rhythm, what flows in, flows out. The law of gender, everything in the universe has masculine and feminine in it. The law of polarity, there's polarity in everything in the universe, like temperature, there's hot and cold. There's duality in everything. Everything has duality. And then we have the law of cause and effect, which people really have renamed the law of attraction. But the fact of the matter is, the law of cause and effect is not the law of attraction. And the law of attraction is really a cute marketing gimmick, because when you understand how to use the seven universal laws, you're manifesting.
Right.
Who the hell wants to attract? You just create it. You own your power.
Yeah, because attraction can fade.
You can create, well, when people talk about attraction, the first thing they go to is like, oh, I'm going to attract more money. See, they're going to go right after physical things. When in fact, abundance is a way of being.
Right.
It has nothing to do with the physical. What it has to do is with your perception of the physical. Like, I'm abundant beyond belief. I'm grateful. This is where people get lost, so to speak. because we get so stuck in the physical. So because of this, our path is foggy. We're always committing and stressed by external pressures, this
Right.
living life with a blindfold on, like my life is out of control. I don't know when I'm going to die. I have no idea. So I'm just going to take each moment, and I'm going to take it energetically with present moment awareness, using my energy to feed my intentions. And with intentions, I mean, I can manifest like crazy. I don't even bother anymore because it's more exciting to just see what shows up.
Right.
Right? You just pump the energy and just phenomenal things show up, and it's so fulfilling. It's amazing. It's not about a house or a car. In fact, I'm sitting here. I had rented my home out in Las Vegas, which I know I'm never returning to. I'm certain of that. I got an RV to go on this book tour. So here I am now. I got here 2 weeks before I was going to start speaking. I was going to talk to some other places and talk to them about speaking and so on, and just meet the people I was going to be speaking for. And the day after I got here is when they had the shutdown. So I'm sitting in an RV in Albuquerque, over here on the north side of Albuquerque. I have no idea what my future holds. Zero. I don't even know if the book tour is going to continue. I don't know what's going to happen. And I'm so excited because I'm going to see what shows up, right? It's just like today we got on and the Facebook Live didn't work and so on. And it's like, great, let's just do this. Like, let's just work with what we have. It had no effect on my energy whatsoever. It was just a
Right.
little blip,
Right.
right?
My
So
confusion gets me though.
do you know what confusion is?
Yeah, not being present in the moment.
No,
Oh, what is
that's
it?
that's the experience of confusion.
Okay.
Do you
Oh, you froze.
absence of commitment?
Try that
Whoops.
again because we froze.
Okay. Confusion is the absence of a commitment.
Ah, there you go. That's very good.
When you don't have a commitment, you'll go to confusion.
Yeah, Facebook didn't commit to me.
Well, we actually got on the other day and checked it out. We thought we had it, but we didn't take it all the way through.
Well,
Right.
no, it
Now
showed
I
up
have a
as the
commitment to
page.
get
Yeah.
right, right. But now I have a commitment to get that resolved. Okay. And after, I'll get it figured out and we'll do a Facebook Live next week. So
That
the
sounds
important thing
marvelous.
to remember is everybody comes from different backgrounds. We come from different experiences. We have different perceptions. All have different life purposes. And I'll speak about that in a second. That's what my book, The 7 Levels of Truth, is about. We only have one similarity. There's only one truth in our life. Do you know what that is? There's only one.
Truth.
There's only one
Yep.
thing in physical world that's true.
Truth never
And there's
changes,
only
but our
one.
perception does.
Yeah.
That's
The
not
only thing
that's not
that,
it.
no, the only thing that's true is how we feel.
Oh, okay.
This is the only way that we can connect, Michelle.
You're
It's
right.
based on energy. It's based on feelings. This is why how we feel is so important. Our head is for protecting us in the physical. Our heart is for connecting us with all that is. And
Okay.
our
I
heart
agree with that.
generates feelings. I'm glad you do, because it's true.
Well,
Now,
you're
go ahead.
probably run up against a few people who would like to argue that point, but I certainly am not one of them.
I can shatter it. I can shatter it so fast it makes anyone look silly, right?
Yay, good for you.
And here's why. Because I only have to talk to them about how they feel, and I can follow that vibration right back to the story that they're protecting inside of them. because you
Ah,
can't have an emotion without a story.
that's true. That's
You
very
cannot,
true.
you can't have an emotion without a story. So I can get right to the root of it. There's a story and a belief in there that they're protecting because they've used it in survival their whole life. We've all been through survival. We had to survive. And the things that we used to survive were based on what our life lessons were, what blind spot we live in, and what was happening in our life, because all of us have felt broken and not whole. Many people still do. They can't figure it out. There are stories and beliefs there that just don't serve you anymore. They have no awareness of they talk spirituality, but nobody knows about the universal laws or can explain metaphysics.
Right.
If you can't understand metaphysics, spirituality is a physical word for metaphysics. And it
Yes.
comes from the root of religions. But religion is for people who don't want to go to hell, and spirituality is for people who've already been there.
Right. And this is one of the frustrating points on so many levels, I think, with people is that they think metaphysics are the gifts of spirit, what deeds they can do, whether they can uh, bring forth conscious astral projection, or if they can do a psychic reading, or if they're a medical empath. That's what they confuse as metaphysics. So I'm really excited I'm going to get your book. We've talked about it. I'm excited for you to tell everyone else about it, because there's always something more for us to learn if we're willing to open up that Pandora's box. All we have to do is say, I'm willing to learn it, and here it comes. You can either do it graciously, or you can create chaos for yourself and drama in order to have it force fed down your throat. I
We
do
are,
not like that.
well, one of the things I read on Facebook was the universe saying, you can't heal the earth. You're going to continue to destroy it. I'll show you how to do it. Let me bring a pandemic. Boom. Now the earth is healing. Thousands of turtles on the beaches mating. I mean, the air quality has improved, on and on and on and on. This is just part of the universal picture. That's all it is. What's happening right now, and it's an incredible time to create intentions and energy to be prepared for a future that's completely unknown for all of us.
Right,
Totally unknown, but the universal laws are still going to be the same.
right.
So you can energetically create a phenomenal future and just see what shows up if you're in the right energy.
Absolutely.
I mean,
Absolutely.
this is a very, very, very powerful time. So the only thing that's true is how we feel. And what people are, what happens is people, and I love psychics. Like I see psychics
Oh,
all the
yeah.
time because I'm able to go in and move with them interdimensionally and reaffirm what I'm getting energetically. It's a good check-in for me. But the problem that people have that go into spirituality is they don't know how to flow it into physical form. We are only here to flow it into physical form. We're here to learn lessons. We're going to learn lessons until the day we die. Because as you go through the cycle of creation, as I am right now, coming out on this book tour, which isn't happening, I'm right. I'm at the top of the cycle of creation, going through a whole new experience now. I'm going through a whole new experience with my children and grandchildren. I'm going through a whole new experience with my friends, with my clients, with the people that I support and work with. It's a totally new experience. And you can count on the universal laws to guide you through that. But in order to do that, you have to know how you feel. When you
Right.
don't know how you feel, and because because we were born and we have these blind spots, if you have a life lesson, it means it's something you don't know.
Right.
It's something you're here to learn. If you're here to learn it, then you don't know it. What that means is, in boxing, you're leading with your chin. You're just
Well,
good. Give me a shot, because you keep stepping into this area of your life lessons. And it's like we know people that struggle with money. We know people who struggle with confidence. We know people who struggle with vision. They have no vision, or they don't accept things going on. People that struggle with integrity, people that struggle with trust. These are all parts of the life lessons. And so part of my process, in fact, my book, the 7 Levels of Truth, covers every aspect that I go through with clients in coaching, which includes the divine gifts. I'll talk about those in a minute. We have life lessons, and when you understand what your life lessons are, you then know where your weak spot is, and you can sense it and see it when it shows up, and you're able then to make a choice to step into the lesson. Okay.
and I think that there's something to be said in the positive aspects for those lessons. Life took me sideways 2 years ago when my son passed away. That I did, it came, that was his life experience as well, and it had I was a bit player in his life. I was his mom, okay? And people are always surprised because when I was at what I would have said was my emotional depleted self, it was my son that said, "Mom, what would you tell me if it was me?" Because we're still connected. There's not a physical body to hug.
There's
If there
no
was,
such
I
thing
would
as
slap him. Right. I would slap him
there's
if
no
there was a
such thing.
physical body, though.
Yeah. There's no such thing as separation.
And what he said was, you would tell me, just keep going. Because what we don't understand is those life lessons are really great opportunities to bring us into another level of awareness.
That's
Yes,
correct.
it kind of sucks to go through some really bad emotions, and it's depleting and it's exhausting. But you know what? That's that. So it is above, so it is below. You know, you have to rise above. You have to meet those challenges, and we're in this together, whether people understand that or not. This
We're all
pandemic
connected.
is giving us the opportunity to connect instead of meeting up with each other, instead of having lunch, instead of going to work together. It's making us connect, and what a great opportunity.
Yeah,
So,
it's fantastic. I mean, it's absolutely fantastic. You know, and we're going to learn these lessons whether we want to or not,
right.
or we're going to come back. But I heard a brilliant psychiatrist speak one time, and he said, "Let me tell you what good mental health is. Here's the definition of good mental health. It's stepping across the current challenge in front of you, knowing full well there's another one waiting for you."
There you go. There you
That's
go.
life. See, that's life in the physical. Now, we can go into reaction, or we can change the spelling of reaction and take the C out and put it on the front, and that will put us in creation. We can either react to it or we can create. And the way you create is by understanding how you feel and making more powerful choices, knowing that the physical world is only about suffering. It's
Right.
only about suffering. All of the love, when you look at it, the universe is only about love. The
Right.
universe is about your divine purpose is to be of service to others in a loving way for the benefit of all involved, regardless of how it shows up in the physical. We have no control over that, but we
Right.
can transcend it with our energy. We can transcend it with our energy. And you can create miracles with energy because people can't block energy. They can block intellect. They can go to rigidity and they can defend their position and create confrontation and resistance. But when you come with a loving energy, they can't block it. They don't have to like it. They don't have to own it, but they can't block it. And when this is how you transcend, this is how you create miracles, is through your energy. So there's
Absolutely.
38 different life paths that people can be on. And this is one of the things I go through with my clients. And then the book, The 7 Levels of Truth, is about the 7 divine gifts that we each come to earth with. We come with the exact same 7 gifts. We all have the exact same 7 gifts. We just have them in different proportions. And when I take what I've learned in my transformation, being an energetic empath, when I learned originally about the 7 divine gifts, I knew everything about them immediately. It was crazy. Like I taught this in a previous life. It was just nuts. Like off I went. I've been with it ever since. So the 7 divine gifts are divine compassion, divine creation, divine order, divine healing, divine authentic self-expression, divine truth, and divine power are the 7 gifts. We each have all 7 of those, but we have them in different proportions. Now, the funny thing about everything that I teach is everybody already has everything. You don't have to go get anything.
And
It's already within you. You just need to put the puzzle pieces together.
it's
And
the
that's what I show people
upload.
how. You just put the puzzle pieces together. And with each of the divine gifts, if you look at a pendulum going from one side to the other, you want to be in balance with your divine gifts. Like a person might have a majority of divine order, and then maybe they've got divine creation and maybe divine power with it. Well, each of those represent an energy. And when the energy isn't recognized, what happens is people don't recognize it because they've lived with these blind spots and they've learned survival and protection. So they're flowing the energy in a negative way because they're stuck in the physical. For instance, somebody that has divine order, a lot of divine order, hates confrontations. They hate chaos. They hate when people aren't happy with them. And the reason they hate it is because of how they feel. Now, they interpret it as intellectual until they work with me, but then they admit it's like, oh, it makes me feel terrible. Yes, you don't think you're terrible, you feel terrible because it penetrates that energy. It's like pinpricks, right? And they'll run from confrontations. And if people aren't happy with them, they'll be miserable. So there's all of these different aspects. And the truth of the matter is somebody with divine order, which is all about bringing harmony, balance, peace, and love to life, showing people plans, blueprints, ways to do things that are done in a harmonious way that not only have to look beautiful, they have to function beautifully. When they understand they have divine order and that happens, what you do is not run from the chaos, you step towards it with the energy, and the chaos melts like snow in Phoenix in July. It just dissolves. That's how powerful the energy is. So it's understanding how to work with all of these different tools that's in my book, The 7 Levels of Truth.
So will they understand by reading the book what they come in with a little bit more surplus in and where they might be a little less lacking in? Or is that something?
The answer to that is yes, if they're willing to feel the difference. There,
That
I told you
that
those
was
earbuds
me.
might die. Can you hear me now?
Yes,
Yeah.
that was my buds went out. Sorry.
Oh, well, I took mine out too. We're on even ground. So the answer to your question is yes, if they can feel the difference, if they can understand the difference between living in the physical and the non-physical.
Okay.
What goes on in the physical doesn't matter
Right.
because it's going to go on anyways.
Right.
The only thing that matters is our reaction to it. That's
Exactly.
where our peace, love, joy, and freedom rest.
So
So
they
go
will
ahead.
learn. They'll going back to because we had that little interruption. So they'll be able to go through if they're really connecting and they're really open to what they're reading. They'll be able to see where they might be a little bit overdone. Now, does it give tools to bring it back the other way so that you're?
Well, I was just going to talk about that.
Oh, yay.
So anyone can figure out their life lessons from my book. Okay.
Okay.
Really, when you understand your divinity, you have this tremendous power to work with. I can walk into a room and take it over energetically without saying a word. I can just let this energy flow. People come up and they're just like, "Wow, that's a really beautiful shirt you're wearing," or, "Oh, I just have to meet you," because they don't understand what it is. They're just attracted to me because of the energy, see? But even when I teach people specifically, in fact, if you want, if this pandemic ends and I'm still in town or I can come back, I can come in and do a day class and take a whole bunch of people through it at once, right?
That would be
But
marvelous.
yeah, blow their minds. It blows your mind because what I do is I introduce you to you. I introduce you to your authentic self. And the truth of the matter is, ultimately, your divinity doesn't matter. What matters is understanding what's blocking you, standing in your way, and holding you back. Because when you understand that, when you understand your life lessons, when you understand your stories and belief, and you start making different choices, and you step across your life lessons, guess what you end up with? Your divinity.
And that is the essence of your true self.
It's authentic self-expression.
Yeah.
But authentic self-expression isn't what we say. Your life purpose isn't what you do.
Right.
It's the energy that you float everything with. It's the energy behind every thought, word, and action that creates your life purpose. Like many times working with healers are like, "Oh, divine healing, that's got to be me." It's like, no, it doesn't. Because divine healing is an aspect of its own. But you see, they're so stuck in the physical being, "Oh, I'm a healer." It's like, no, you're not. You're a facilitator.
Right.
You move energy to share wisdom that allow people to make choices and heal themselves.
Yes.
Like, I'm the only coach in the world that tells every client the same thing. I could care less about your results. I could care less. And here's why. I can't make choices for you.
Right.
You have to make the choices. I can show you anything going on in your life. I can take you right to the root cause in no time just by following the energy. Just like one client I worked with as a child developed very, very serious betrayal beliefs. And inside him, these betrayal beliefs, this energy polluted everything he did. It contaminated all the other energy. Everybody's doing it. I mean, we're all
Right.
doing it at some
Right.
level. None of us are perfect. We're here to learn lessons. And I've been working with him now. You know, one of the interesting thing is I work with individual clients and I have a group coaching program. which if you'd like, I can tell you about after. But with the individual clients, right now, the shortest client that I am working with has been with me 2.5 years.
Wow.
The longest is 6 years. Now, why would they work with me that long?
Because it's working for them.
Well, because the universe is only about expansion.
Right.
We're always expanding. We're always expanding. We're always going to different levels. They become new people. They see life a different way. They know there's just so much more to learn. It's so exciting. Every time we get on the phone, I don't have any manuals or coaching things I work from. I just start, how was your week? Let's talk about what's happening. Oh, this happened. Oh, really? That's what, tell me more about that. Oh, boom, boom, boom. Oh, great. How do you feel about it? It doesn't feel very good. Let's take a look at it. We go right to the source. I said, here's a better choice you can make. Like, for instance, one client had a home that he was selling. He had been caught in 2008 and couldn't get rid of the house and was in real financial difficulty because of it, had it on the market, finally had somebody that wanted to buy it when I was working with him. And he lived on a private road. And because he was selling his house, the neighbors started this thing and said that he had damaged a culvert on the road and they wouldn't sign off on the documents the mortgage company needed.
Wow.
I said, what are you going to do? He says, well, I'm going to go talk to him. I said, well, I don't know if I would do that, but go give it a try, right? Well, 2 of them wouldn't even talk to him. He came back, he's, man, I don't know what, this. I said, look, this is going to change your life financially, instantly, isn't it? And I want you to remember, you never have to go through this situation again in your life because now you understand what's actually happening. So we have 2 choices. I'll give them both to you. 1, write the check when you close escrow and pay for the culvert. Stop arguing. Let's move into the positive side of your life. Or 2, see if you can find a different mortgage company that doesn't require that signature. He was like, oh, okay. I said, but if it comes down to it, I want you to write the check. And it was like $4,500, right? But I said, is your freedom worth that? Or do you want to keep carrying on this agony? It's your choice. You can do whatever you want. He said, no, I can, it doesn't feel good, but I can understand why you say that. I said, okay, we'll check with some other. He said, I know a couple other mortgage people. Let me talk to them. Well, he found another one. They were able to transfer the documents. They didn't require the signatures, and we closed the loan the next week. We just stepped away from the chaos. We stepped away from the confrontation. We stepped away from the motives of the neighbors, whatever they were. Everything we did was 100% legal. And he swore he didn't damage the culvert. It was just something they pulled over on him. But even at that, I would have said, hey, write the check. Right. Let's just get on with your life. Let's move into good energy.
Right.
Do you want to go to court and stay in court for another 2 years and your house isn't sold? Or do you want to close this escrow within the next 3 weeks? Which way do you want to go? It's your choice. You can do whatever you want. If it was me, I'd write the check.
Yeah.
It ended, and be done with it. You see, but it's all based on feelings. And it's based on the energy, not what the other people were saying. It was the energy that was floating everything they were saying. And the energy was resentment, anger, defensiveness, all things that are attached to the physical.
Right.
It can only lead to suffering.
Right.
This is what everybody's accustomed to. So when you understand your divinity, when you understand your divine gifts, you know what energy to flow. You know when you're flowing the energy negatively. Like there's another talk I give on the 7 saboteurs. These sabotage businesses, relationship, and life. They're guideposts you can follow. And the number 1 saboteur of all, the number 1 is defensiveness.
Right. You know what? I understand that. I have resonated with that one myself.
We all have. It's real simple. When you look at a vibration, there's no such thing as right or wrong. There's just a vibration. There's no good or bad. It's just a vibration. If you're defending something, you're stuck in the physical. Because with love, there's nothing to defend. What do you do with love, Michelle?
You experience it.
You embody it, you give it
embody
away.
it. Absolutely. And it
And the
flows
more love
right
you
back.
give, yes, the more you give, the more you
Receive.
that's it. That's how
right.
love works. With fear, it's all about protection. You know, there's a saying, fear knocked on the door and love answered, but no one was there.
Right.
Because love and fear cannot coexist.
And I tell people, if you love, you're in that flow. You're expanding. It's coming in. It's like the ocean, in and out. When you're in fear, you're holding everything negative close to you. You've sealed your bubble. You're in your cave with all the negative that you want to manifest.
And you're creating more fear in everything in your inner game. It's all about protection.
Exactly.
You know, a woman said
ahead.
to me, well, we were hiking and ran into a bear and that scared me. I said, well, come on now, that's different. You're in the physical, you're hiking, you have to take care of yourself. But when you look at the energy with which you approach life, because everyone lives with a blindfold on, they're living a life that's out of control and they don't want to admit it. There's a constant state of fear.
So does this book also deal with anxieties and PTSDs? Because I'm kind of thinking that because we're kind of stuck in this, well, I'm not stuck in my home. I'm kind of experiencing my home, but so many people are so overwrought about having this, you know, I'm stuck at home, and they're saying that there's so many people coming away with PTSD. Would your book help them alleviate some of those PTSD statements that they're making?
It will explain them.
How would they go about possibly
anxiety,
moving through them?
well, they have to choose differently.
Okay.
They have to choose the non-physical. The non-physical hasn't changed.
Okay.
The non-physical is the same now as it's been for eternity and will always be. It's a vibration and it's energy. If you're stuck living in the physical and you're stuck with your stories and beliefs, you're screwed. You're guaranteed suffering. PTSD, disease, dis-ease, right? Emotions, energy and motion. And we have guideposts, and our guidepost is how we feel. Everything, the world is a mirror. Everything you see in the world is you.
Yeah.
If you see wars, there's wars going on inside of you. If you see anger, there's anger inside of you. I used to be a very angry person and didn't know it. I was not aware of it because of my humor. And when I learned or someone told me I was angry, I actually laughed in their face when I was doing some very serious transformation work. I laughed. I said, that's ridiculous. But the truth of the matter was, I was very angry on a deep level. I was angry at me. I was angry at everything. Now anger doesn't bother me in the least. I love anger. I love it because I can cut through it like a hot knife through soft butter when somebody's angry. Right?
Well,
Just let them talk.
I think that's one of the I think it's a misinformation piece. You know, when people say, oh, well, I see this in you. And it's like, but wait a minute. That does not mean that it's
in you.
It doesn't really mean that it's in me.
The truth of the matter is this, is when we speak, we are always speaking to ourselves.
Right. And that's why I think it's funny because I remember this woman vividly. I was grieving my mother. She had passed away. And I must have had a scrunchy face, you know, trying to hold back some tears. And she says, you're so angry. You're so angry. And I'm like, I'm just thinking about my mom.
Yeah. But you know why she said that?
That was my life lesson. Sure, because she was angry.
Yes, but also anger is just a cover on sadness.
Yeah.
That's all
true.
it is. It's just a cover on sadness. I met with a publisher last week and was talking to her about my situation. And it was really funny because she said, wow, like you're really stuck. I said, what? I am not stuck at all. I'm in the best place I could be. I couldn't be in a better place because I had these in the wrong ears. I thought they felt funny. I couldn't be in a better place because I'm in a state of creation. I'm not doing anything because I'm not going to go out against the grain in the physical. I'm going to build my energy. I'm going to focus on my intentions. I'm going to adjust so I'm prepared for the new world. I'm going to adjust energetically. That's what I'm doing. To her, because I'm not stepping forward and doing this and that, means I'm stuck. Well, in the physical, this is true, but I don't live in the physical. I show up in the physical with energy and I let it manifest.
And I think that that's one of the things that's the hardest point for people. I have been so creative. I have reconnected to my yard. I've reconnected to the house because I was never here. So it showed a sorrowful.
Mm-hmm.
It showed itself sorrowfully because my frustration was as I wasn't there to nurture it. So instead of nurturing from afar, I had made up my mind that I had to be present. And I get that we all have these frustrations, and we have to be a little bit more gentle with ourselves because we do have that. But
well, people live with frustrations, but I want you to clearly understand that frustration is a mental concept.
Right.
It's not a feeling.
Right.
It's a manifestation of bad thinking.
Right.
And I say this, my mind is like a bad neighborhood. I never go in there alone.
I love.
The three worst words in my dictionary are I was thinking. And then I know I'm in trouble when I'm thinking because I'm using limited resources in the physical rather than connecting energetically and just being of service, just giving. It's like this, I'm just giving, just here to talk, teach people things. This is what our purpose is. My life purpose is to empower others so that they can empower others. Because when your energy changes, everything around your whole family changes, even if they don't live with you. When you understand your divinity in this energy, the power of it is beyond the ability to understand. In fact, I have a very difficult time in telling people what I do because they're like, oh, I know my life purpose. It's like, okay, then for you, I'll double my guarantee. I'll give you back twice your money if you do. Because nobody does, because they're all looking in the physical.
Well, and that's true. And I tell my clients, as you heal you heal the generations above you and the generations below. The lighter the brighter our light, the more light we shine together collectively. So it behooves us to work on that.
And what we call light is a vibration.
Absolutely.
It's an energy. It's that energy.
When we're not doing this, remind me to tell you what came through for vibration. You'll really get a kick out of it.
Yeah. So. Well, there's only one truth, you see. We're all on the path of truth, but the only thing that's true in the physical is how you feel. Right. That's your guidepost to your divinity. You go back, I'm angry. Why am I angry? Because they did that. What's inside of me that has created this anger? Because everybody has the right to do whatever they want. We're all equal. We all come from different places. We all have different perceptions. Everybody's different. So it's a matter of being open-minded and observing. But when you observe, don't use your head. Use your heart and look at the vibration that's happening, and that will tell you everything. That will tell you the truth. The vibration's just a vibration. There's no judgment. blame, shame, guilt. It's just a vibration. If you're vibrating judgment, blame, shame, and guilt, it's a very low vibration that doesn't serve anybody.
I have a class I offer to people on judgment, which is not what they think it is, because they've misused the word judgment. And it's actually a really incredible tool if used correctly. Unfortunately, because we don't use it in that aspect, in the positive sense, we have a tendency to overreach there. What I wanted to ask you, because I know our goal was to have you do the lunch and learn, and then to have you come and do speak and everything. How are people going to be able to get your book? Since you're not at my center. Let's talk about how we do this.
Why don't you create the way they're going to get it?
I'm going to tell you there's a couple of things I've been thinking. Okay. One of the things that I'd like to do, I don't know when they're going to lighten up our thing. I think somewhere in the next 2 weeks. What I'd like to do is I'd like to have people have the opportunity. I don't know if you have books on hand.
I do.
But can they also order on Amazon?
They can order on Amazon, yes.
So if they get their book,
they can order from me, and I can mail it to them. They can, I don't know.
I was kind of thinking if they, however they wanted to do that, that they could order it from you, which they can contact me, and I will be happy to forward your information, or we can just give them your website for ordering. We can do both in case they forget where to go to order. They can order on Amazon, but I'd like to have the opportunity, because I think, you know, maybe we can have a book signing where they actually, and then maybe we can have that book signing.
I'd be happy to sign it.
Another, we want to do some more. I'd love to have you back to do some more talks with us.
I've got plenty more to talk about, believe me.
I'm telling you. And I love it, because it's so hard for me to find a kindred spirit sometimes, because I don't know, people tend to think I'm a little nuts when I tell them metaphysics is not just being psychic.
Yeah. If you're not connected to the metaphysical world, you're living in suffering, and the traits are that you go into reaction and fear takes over, it incapacitates you, you get lost, you can't act, you feel uncomfortable in difficult situations, and you use limited resources in your physical reality, and you always hope for the best while preparing for the worst. But when you're thriving, it's totally different.
And I'd like for people to understand, one of the key things that I've always tried to show people throughout life was, it's called Somebody Done Me Wrong song. If you're singing that song, you've been listening to a country station, or you've been listening to a heck of a victim platform. So, you know, that's one of those things we want to help people shift, that paradigm.
And when they do that, what they're doing is handing all of their power to that person. They are literally neutering their power. And there's a belief inside of them that supports whatever they heard. And all they have to do is take a look at that story or belief to see why not make a different choice.
Well, here's what I'd like to do is I'd like you to tell me, tell people where to get your book, how much it is, or however you want to do that. We're going to set up a live Zoom. We're going to get this thing licked. If it kills me, if I can go back to the center and I can do it, I have a better Wi-Fi aspect there. We'll do the next one if I'm from the center. So we should be able to not worry about that. And I want to have you back on the talk.
Well, actually, too, the other thing is I could meet I could meet you, or if you have better Wi-Fi there, that's great. Or I mean, I also could meet you at the center, and we could social distance and do it. But when we
Absolutely.
social distance like that, it's the same as doing it this way. But you know, on the next one, what I would really like to talk about is how to create intentions,
That would be marvelous.
how to prepare yourself for the new world.
I would love that to be your next topic.
And I want anyone that listens to this to understand one thing very clearly. There's something going on that very few people are aware of right now. And that is, we are all experiencing a very deep state of grief because our soul is telling us that the way we used to live is over. It will never return. It will never be the same. And we're going through this tremendous loss, and it creates a sadness inside of us that no one's really been aware of until I've mentioned it to people. Just connect with that grief and connect with the opportunity. We in energy are unlimited potential in energy.
Yeah.
In the physical, we're just a bunch of buffoons suffering. But if we connect to the energy, we're unlimited, omnipotent potential. You can create anything you desire, but you have to understand the difference between letting the universe know or you saying no and not accepting what the universe wants to send you because you block it with your stories and beliefs.
Absolutely.
That's a great topic. It's called attention versus intention.
I would love for you to talk on that.
Because where your attention goes in the physical, you go.
Yep.
But with intention, you use present moment awareness and energy. So you're always like, as I'm speaking now, the energy, I'm sure you can feel it, it's just building and building. And I'm attracting this future to me, this unknown future that I have no idea what it is, but I can tell you this, it's going to be a beauty. It's going to be fantastic, whatever it is.
I am so excited to get to that point and how it unfolds. And I can tell you that it's just, to me, one of the most amazing times to be alive. There was a reason we all incarnated at this time. And it wasn't just to, pay off karma and to punish each other or to, amass a bloody fortune. That's it. Not that any of that is a bad thing. It's how we approach it and what we do with it. Because like you said, we're all in the flow of abundance. Even if it's abundantly negative, we are in the flow of abundance.
There is no negativity in abundance. We are all being taken care of. We are all in this together. We are spiritual beings, energetic beings, having a physical experience. What everybody's accustomed to is being physical doings rather than being. And right now we're getting a chance just to be. It's pretty exciting.
It is. It's so thrilling. Okay. So anything else that we need to add?
We killed some time there, didn't we?
We did. We did.
Yeah. My website is True Life Purpose Now, truelifepurposenow.com. Oh, I've got a free gift for all the listeners I want to talk about. If you want to get in touch with me, my email address is the Divine Purpose Guy at Gmail. And I wrote another book previous to the 7 Levels of Truth. And the answer of that book, or the name of that book, is Clarity Has No Story. Clarity Has No Story, a shaman's guide to mastering the law of attraction. And anyone that wants that book can go to my free book, myfreebook.me, M-E, myfreebook.me. It's all about me. myfreebook.me, and they can download a PDF version of that book absolutely free. It's my gift to everybody.
That's marvelous. What I'm going to do is I'm going to, when we post this, I'm going to make sure that this, your website is there. They
Good.
can follow it through, and they can order books from there. They can also, if we're going to possibly get together next week, I will be happy to have some books at RE for people to purchase. We'll get together and talk how that
Yeah.
looks.
Yeah, why don't we, why don't we do that? If people want to get books, contact you. I'll get you a bunch of books. Okay?
That sounds marvelous.
Because you sell books and I want to support you. Don't go to Amazon. Okay?
Yay.
Just get it from Michelle. And the book is $18.
Wonderful.
Um,
And we'll
and
make sure that when we can, we will have them autographed.
if they contact you, I will have them all signed when I get them to you.
Perfect. Perfect.
I'll have them
So-
signed. I'll have them in an envelope with the person's name on it, so it knows whose it is, and then you can make arrangements for how they would do a pickup at your Resonant Essentials or however you get it to them.
Sounds marvelous. We will
This has
focus
been
with
so
that.
much fun, Michelle.
It has for me too. Thank you so much. I'm so glad you called me that day. I'm so excited. So glad to have you.
Yeah, it's fun to just get on with another beautiful spirit and just have a conversation and let it rip, right?
Right. It's probably more fun for us than everybody who's watching. They're probably going, what? But that's okay. They'll enjoy anyway.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
I'm gonna stop the recording, and then you can talk me through the rest of how we upload this.
Great. Blessings, everybody. Thank you for listening. And I hope that you've heard at least one thing that brings you more peace, love, and joy in your life.
Don't forget, it's Bill Heinrich, truelifepurpose.com, and his book is
truelifepurposenow.com.
Oh, sorry, I'm so sorry. truelifepurposenow.com.
Now, we want it now.
You got it. And don't forget, his book is The 7 Levels of Truth. So thank you, Bill, and we'll talk with you guys soon. Bye now.
Thanks, Michelle.
Okay, now I don't know if we're still recording. It's got hands
We
clapping.
are. Yeah.
Okay,
we are.
hang on. Oh, I hit the clapping. Okay, where
There you
is
go.
my, oh, there we go.
Just